Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Rainmaker podcast. And this segment is called the Brand Blueprint. And I got my man, my brother from another mother on here, Dame Dillard, TEDx speaker, author, father, son of God, right? And all the other accolades. My man who needs no introduction, Dame Dillard, man. Welcome to the show, brother.
Come on now. Let's get it. Let's grow. I'm excited to be on with you, man.
For sure, man. So let's just let's dive right in. Let's for those who may not know you and know your backstory, let's kind of catch us up to speed. You know how you got into the business, things that you've done, some people's lives that you've helped, and then we'll get into the main topic, which is why it's important to have a personal brand in 2024.
Yeah, awesome and amazing, man. Well, first and foremost, before I even do that, I want to throw it back to you. I think this is my second or third time being featured on your incredible platform. So I do not take this time for granted one bit. I understand that we have an opportunity to leverage this space and help so many people. So I hope that I'm a good steward over this time and give them some gems, some tips, some tricks, some how-tos, and some strategies.
Yeah, man.
To truly take their business to the next level. But let me start by saying this. Your boy is a decade in on his license, okay?
Woo!
I will be a licensed life insurance agent now for a full 10 years in one more month. Actually, April 24th, 2014 was when my life changed forever. I tell people when it comes to being a life insurance agent, you have two different dates. You have the date where you actually get your license, but then you have the date where you actually commit to receive and do everything that this incredible opportunity allows you to do.
Come on.
They call me the high income sales coach. So I have went through all the ebbs and flows that you possibly can in this business. I've been a captive agent. I've been an independent agent. I've grown out agencies. I've built leaders. And now we're having a really good time. I'm doing a lot of coaching and consulting and mentoring and still building, man. I'm really excited about the opportunity now that it looks like the culture has given us to take pride in the idea that financial literacy is actually cool. Like it is cool now to talk about finances, and we have one of the greatest vehicles that we could ever be in to be able to do so. So I'm super excited, man.
For sure, man. I'm excited too. It's like I love having a conversation where somebody that matches your energy, but also exceeds it. And every time I'm around you, I got my phone right next to me because I'm gonna be taking some notes and as you dropping some gems and some nuggets and some things to kind of think about as we kind of fellowship here and really get into like some things that like some substance, some things that people can actually learn and understand on this journey that they call entrepreneurship. So yeah, man, how did you even get into the life insurance business in the first place?
Yeah. So first and foremost, man, when I came out of college, I came out as a sophomore, and I do not want that to confuse people because I graduated high school with a 1.7 GPA, barely graduated. So coming out as a sophomore, I know you're thinking, wow, you did no. I just decided I was done. Okay.
Yeah, you finished. He's like, no, you didn't graduate. You finished. You decided you was finished.
I was done. And my aspiration for the majority of my life was to go overseas and play basketball. And so I remember in the midst of that dream was the nightmare of finances. Like there's real life happening even while you're dreaming. And so in the midst of me conditioning and trying to get ready for all these camps and different things, showcases, I was having a conversation with a mentor of mine because he knew what my struggles were financially. And he said, well, what is your plan? And I said, well, I've been going around to all these different financial firms. I'm going to the Northwestern Mutuals and the Primericas, and I'm going to the Merrill Lynch and the Charles Schwab. And because I've always been able to communicate effectively, I would get in and they'd want to bring me on. They want me to do the internship. They want to, cater to me and help me learn the career path of being a financial advisor. And he asked me a question. He said, Damon, are you really passionate about being a financial advisor, or do you just want to make a lot of money? Now here's what ended up happening for me. I wanted to answer the politically correct way. Like I wanted to be like, well, I want to help people and I want to, but the truth was like my stomach didn't even allow, like I was hungry, like really hungry.
Like I need to make some money right now. Not now, right now.
Right now. And I said, I really need to make some money. He said, Damon, do you know anything about life insurance? And I said, no, I don't. He said, changed my life forever. He said, Damon, if you get your life insurance license, you will never have to worry about money in your life again. That's how I got
Wow.
started in the industry.
Yeah, that's a bold promise. And for most people, that may seem like a crazy claim, but for somebody that's ambitious, that's all I needed to hear. I was like, where do I sign that? Where do I go? Where are they giving them out at?
Listen, bro, I want to tell you a very quick story. So my first experience in this industry, I had no idea about anything at all. I didn't even know what life insurance was. I didn't know what a premium was. I didn't know anything. A good friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but a good friend of mine, he said, Damon, I'm going to show you a day in the field. Now, keep in mind, I was a captive agent. This is 2013, so it's a long time ago, right? Back in my day, right? But I remember he said, I'm going to pick you up at 10 a.m. He picked me up at 10 a.m. We went from north to south to north to south. We saw 4 homes. Keep in mind, I'm not saying that we did 4 presentations. I'm not saying that we saw 4 people. We saw 4 houses between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. that day. He said, you know what? We're going to try one more house. We went from South Columbus, 45 minutes north. If you're here, he didn't even know how to run the business, right?
Right.
But here's what changed everything for me, man. At the time, I'm making $9 an hour moving furniture for a living. My every 2-week check was maybe $140, maybe, right? A good day for me is if a client that we move furniture for gave us $20 just to go get Chipotle. Like, that was a great day. We ended up getting to this house. It was a senior center. We sat down with the gentleman who was a veteran. His ceilings were yellow because of all the smoke. I remember sitting there, I'm watching the presentation, and you know, as an athlete, you size people up. You kind of look at them and you like, yeah, I'd be way better than you, bro. And so I'm watching his presentation, I'm watching his vibe. 30 minutes later, he walks out with a $27 check. He's happy, he's excited. I don't know what's going on. We get to the car, I'm like, bro, how much money did you just make? He did the little calculations in the calculator. He said, I just made $212.
Ooh.
I was done. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Right. We just was in this house for how long? And you just made what?
House for 30 minutes.
Right.
I will work my face off for 2 weeks and not even make what you just made in 30 minutes. And quite frankly, you're trash at this. Like, and he's not in the business today. But he was horrible. That's all I needed to see. I said, this is going to be a cash cow. I'm going to be rich.
Yeah, that's amazing. So from that moment, you're all in, you're 10 toes down in the insurance industry, right? Yeah. So walk me through 2013. How do we get to today? How do we get to the accolades, the Damon Dillard that's speaking on stage, a TEDx speaker, traveling around the world, doing all these amazing things? Like, how do we get here?
Yeah. What's interesting is I want to take a step back because when I got my license, I was not 10 toes down. And so I want to speak to the people who have been licensed for a while and either their business has plateaued or they haven't reached the potential that this business has to offer. For me, I believe in entrepreneurship in general and in the life insurance business. What you're going to experience is very similar to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Okay, what do you mean by that? On Snow White, there was this part of the movie where she would stand in front of a mirror and she would say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? Okay. And then the mirror would say, you are, or she would say somebody else, whatever. I believe what happens with entrepreneurship is we have an opportunity to receive whatever life is willing to give based on our effort, right?
Right.
And so I believe what happens is we stand in front of this proverbial mirror and we say, mirror, mirror on the wall, I want a better home. I want a better car. I want more influence. I want more time and financial liberty. I want all these things based on me signing up for entrepreneurship. The mirror doesn't say you have the potential to do it. No, what the mirror does is it reflects who you are, not what you want. And so what the mirror ended up saying to me in the beginning was not, oh, you can do it. It said, cool, but you're going to need to become a better father. You're going to need to become a better husband. You're going to need to become a better leader. You're going to need to be more organized. You're going to need to become a better communicator. It gave me a list of character traits and competencies that I had to, at that point, commit to taking on. And what happened for me is the reason why I did not have success immediately is because my talent was getting me in a lot of rooms and a lot of opportunities that my character was not keeping me.
Wow. You know what's funny? Because Inky Johnson speaks to this a lot. So I know you can resonate with Inky because he talks about the character. He's like,
Yeah.
you know, what are you doing when nobody else is looking?
Come
Right?
on.
When you got all the talent in the world that
Yeah.
got you in the room, but what
Yeah.
are you going to do to stay in the room? So yeah,
100%.
at a certain level, everybody's talented, right?
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was watching so Kobe got a statue this the last couple of months, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, just a couple of weeks ago. And
Mhm.
I watched a short of him where he said he wasn't shocked that he had hit 81 points. And the reason why is because he knew the work that he had put in, but that summer he said he did a lot of track work. So his cardio is
Yeah.
the thing that did it for people. Thought that maybe it was his talent or how many shots, or we all know the infamous work ethic for how much he practiced four times a day. But he said that wasn't the difference. It
Yeah.
was the track work. So he had ran so many miles and his cardio and his endurance was so high that he
Yeah.
wasn't even tired. He could have played another game after scoring 81 points. And he was in such good physical shape that
Yeah.
he outran his competition.
100%.
And so what I hear you saying this is like, in the words of Jim Rohn, in order for things to change, you look in that mirror, Damon, you're going to have to change, right?
Change. I had to change. One of my
That's
best
so good.
mentors, man, he helped me out in the beginning of my career. Shout out to Troy Miles. I believe he's
Yeah.
with Lincoln Heritage Life Insurance. But I spent so much time with him. I would drive 3 hours almost every weekend to just go sit at his feet. You know, I believe any way that you're going to learn anything in your life is going to be mistakes or mentors. You're either going to learn through pain or you're going to learn through people. And
Right.
I decided to take the shortcut. I said, let me get a mentor. And one thing that he used to ask me all the time, Arturo, he said, I would always ask him how to scale the business. I would always ask him how to recruit. I would always ask him how to deal with people, things like that. And his question to me he would never answer me directly. He would always say, well, how is your family doing? He would always say, well, how are you feeling? And I would be like, bro, like, are you listening to my, like, we're losing money right now. Like, I feel like I'm putting out fires. Like, what do I need to do in my business? And what he realized is the same thing that a lot of agents to this day do not understand. And that's why my work is so purposeful to me, because any problem that's showing up in your business is simply a manifestation of something happening in your personal life.
Woo-wee. Man, that's so good. So funny that you said that, because the very first thing, day one, sign up for a course. Shout out to Sam Ovens and school and Alex Hormozy. The first week, the first thing he says is that people don't have business problems. They have personal problems that reflect in their business.
Period.
And that changed my whole paradigm. That's amazing.
Period. It's a principle, bro. And the principle is all things must reproduce after their own kind. That principle was here before any of us, before this podcast, before either of us were born, before our parents. It is a law. A law is irrefutable. All things must reproduce after their own kind. And so whoever you truly are, not who Damon is represented to be on social media, not as glamorous as my pics, or no. Who I truly am at the end of the day will always show up in my business, in my family. And listen, what I told my wife one time is I said, you know what, it's great that people will clap for me in the crowd, but my scariest thought, bro, is that one day I'm going to get off stage from thousands of people cheering my name and then walk to a room where my children and my wife are not proud to see me.
Wow.
It can't happen, bro.
Nah, for sure. That's deep, bro. That's amazing. So yeah, man, like the journey, when you first started, you said you weren't 10 toes down, right?
Yeah.
And you said there's a day that you get your license, and then the day that you actually go commit, get serious, and go full time into actually doing insurance. And those dates are two different times, right? Funny enough, I talked to John Wetmore. He said the same thing. He said he was contracted for 2 years before he actually like got into the insurance business, right? Which was dope. And he said it was funny enough. People asked me what was the secret. He said what I was doing, I 3x'd it. That was it. And I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting because a lot of people go from like, oh, I'm gonna make 50 door knocks or 40 dials or whatever it is, and then
Yeah.
they just do like 10 more, and they think that that's the thing that's going to get them. He said he had to do exponential more work or put in more effort in order to get to that level. And I feel like, in these days when we kind of get into the business, a lot of times we don't really talk about what it takes to be great at doing something.
Yeah.
And greatness requires sacrifice.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the personal characteristics and the traits that are blocking us from doing it, the habits, to stand up all night, the vices, right? The women, the relationships, the things we watch on our phone, like all of those things it's what's standing in front of us. And so it's really just us in our own way. So I'm glad that you said that. And once you can kind of get those things out of the way, like there's almost nothing that you can't do. So when did you have this breakthrough? When did this start to work for you? And when did it start to turn around for you?
Yeah, January 9th of 2015. January 9th of 2015. I was 3 months past doing my rent. I was 3 months past doing my utilities. No exaggeration. I am not looking to oversimplify this at all. I was living in hell. I was about to lose anything and everything that I loved in that moment. I did not have a vehicle. I didn't have a stable place to stay either. The only thing I literally had in that moment was my life insurance license. I was being recruited to another company at that time. And they were telling me, hey, listen, you don't have to go door knock anymore. You can do everything over the phone. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, who was extremely upset with me in that moment, she said something to me that changed my life. And what she said was, Damon, you shouldn't take that other position. I said, why? I don't even have a car. She said, Damon, because I know you, which she has. She had known me since 2007. She said, the one thing that you committed to when you started this journey is you would give it 2 years. She said, Damon, the reason why you aren't where you want to be right now is because you never finish. I said,
what?
She was right. She was right. And so what ended up happening is when I made the decision, which we don't have time to get into how powerful just a made up mind is, right? But when I made the decision to say, I'm gonna see this thing through, I don't know what I'm gonna need to do, whether it's I need to knock every door in this neighborhood, things started to line up for me. I ended up finding a vehicle. January 9th, 2015, we had something called First Fridays. First Fridays. And we had it at a local spot right here, Tequila Cowboy, here in Columbus, Ohio. And I remember I actually showed up because I had gotten the car, but I thought, you know what? Let me go ahead and take the position with the other company. Before I walked out that evening, the manager's wife for the agency I was a part of at that time stopped me. She said, Damon, let me talk to you real quick. She said, Damon, do you understand you have more talent in your pinky than everybody has in their body? She said, why don't you even have a team yet? And I was flabbergasted. I didn't even know how to respond to her. She said, Damon, do you understand that 5 years ago, our husband and I think at the time they were making like $750 a year or something like that, doing extremely well. But she said 5 years ago, we were going to the fire department to get our kids toys for Christmas. She said we were borrowing, using an electrical cord, an extension cord from one apartment to theirs just so they could have electricity. She said, I had food stamps. I had an EBT card. And she said, I used to have to go to Walmart in the middle of the night because I was so embarrassed that we didn't have any money. And she said, you can do this. I heard her, but I still didn't hear her. I'm on my way. I'm on my way out, about to walk out. The manager of the entire agency at that time, he was a young guy. And he was a little intoxicated, but he said something to me. He said, Damon, if you would spend as much time on your business as you do on these workout videos, you would do a lot better. For whatever reason, man, the clouds didn't open up or anything, but what I did commit to is I committed to a strict schedule. And what I said to myself, all things being equal, I will work my business from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single day. That's what I committed to. January 16th, I got 20 leads in Cincinnati, Ohio. Within the next 2 weeks, I made a little over $9,000, fixed all the debts that I had.
Let's go.
Never look back, bro.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And so currently now, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, everything. I'm doing a lot of coaching. I'm doing a lot of consulting. I'm helping a lot of agents. We had an agency of about 170 agents at one time. We dissolved of that in 2021. I really wanted to get into more of what I feel is my purpose work.
Yeah.
So I got a number of different agents that I do train, that I mentor, that I coach. I got a bunch of agency owners that I do a lot of coaching and consulting with, and I still write business myself.
Yeah.
But I teach people, I want to say this real quick. I teach people to actually go against the grain of the mindset of grinding. I no longer believe that. I am actually against that, because what I remember being told, which is it's accurate to build up a work ethic, but it's not accurate to build a business. Damon, what are you talking about? Me working 60 hours a week. I'm sorry, 60 hours a day. There's not even 60 hours. Me working all day long is not going to help me make more money. It's going to improve my work ethic, but technically it's not going to help me make more money, because working harder does not make you more money. It
Right.
makes you more tired. Now, I say this very tongue in cheek, because there are some people out there that are going to take this wrong and say, oh my God, Damon's telling me not to work. No, I'm telling you to think. And what most people don't do, and what they avoid in their business that keeps them stuck, is the only thing that will actually help them elevate and scale. And it's thinking. And so
What
what
is
I teach
Marvin says something that's cool too. What does he say?
yeah,
He say, thinking is the hardest work that most people won't
don't
do.
do.
Right. And it's so funny because I've been saying that too. Working harder isn't going to get you where you need to go. See, I'm reading this book and it's called The Quantum Leap Theory. Let me grab it real quick.
Yeah, U Squared
Yeah.
by Price
But,
Pritchard.
yeah, but there's two of them. So there's two of them.
Okay.
There's U
Yeah.
squared and in the quantum leap strategy, which is the premise on this book. So this one first, and then this one. Everybody knows about this one. So I ended up getting this one on accident, and it actually I got this one because it just came together when I clicked the button on Amazon. And what he says in the book, which gave me the aha, is that if you're working on something and it's the wrong thing, and you're taking perfect action, it's impossible for you to get the result that you're trying to get. Alas, what you're saying when you're talking about working hard. Most people are working hard, but they're working hard on the wrong thing.
Correct.
And what happens is people who are working hard don't understand leverage, right? Because you either
Correct.
understand leverage and you use it, or you're someone else's leverage.
Come
But
on.
the other thing he says is if you take imperfect action, but you're working on the right thing, you can make quantum leaps, which will allow me to think that if I could figure out just how to get the lever, it doesn't matter if I do it perfectly, as long as I'm on this end of it and I can stand far enough, I can lift the world. So I need to understand this thing about leverage. And that's why I wasn't going anywhere. Because
Come on.
again, I only had so much time,
Come
right,
on.
with these resources, and I'm in this energy. I got time and the physical resource, right? So, like, what did he say? A limited resource and a physical resource cannot produce an infinite result.
Come on.
And so I'm like, oh, I got this equation wrong. I
Yeah.
need to figure out something to be able to leverage. And that's when I was like, oh, I need to start using my mind. I need
Come
to
on.
start using technology, right? I need to start using my mouth.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. So now
Yeah.
coaching up agents, I can tell you that as I transition, very similar, because I remember when we first had our first call, we were talking about this.
Mhm.
When you see the light bulb go off for an agent and they click, like,
Mhm.
talk about one of the most impactful and meaningful and proud moments that you can have when
Yeah.
you can see that the light bulb has clicked in the insurance agent's mind, and
Yeah.
now they get it, and now they're equipped to go and chase after all their dreams. How amazing and impactful is that for you?
Listen, bro, it's everything. One of my most inspiring moments is in college when I scored 27 points in one half of a basketball game. And I thought, this is the pinnacle. This is what fulfillment feels like, because I had worked so hard to do that. And then when I discovered what entrepreneurship and coaching was, and mentoring and pouring your life's example into somebody else, and they go out and win, there's no other feeling like it in the entire world. And so I could name off name after name after name, whether it's Ronnie Scott, whether it's Derek Johnson, whether it's Jalen Talley, whether it's Jalen Lewis, like name of. There have been so many people that have come through, and I want to be very clear. I am not the reason they are successful. I am not the reason they are successful. I was an example of what success could be. And maybe I shared some things, but at the end of the day, it was their decision to say, got it, and
Right.
go to work. So, man, there's so many examples. What it is for me though, it's not so much that they go after their dream. What it is, and I used to tell agents this all the time. I said, listen, I can't guarantee that you're going to go off and become a millionaire. I can't guarantee that you're going to go off and become a multiple six-figure earner. But what I can guarantee is that if you are under my tutelage for any extent of time, you will leave and you will say, that was the greatest experience I've ever had. Why?
Come on.
Because they grew. And when you grow as a person, that means every single area of your life also expands and grows.
I love
That's
it.
the
I
greatest
love
feeling
it.
I've ever had.
I love it, man. And it's so impactful because indirectly now you get to help protect more families because you empower more agents with the right tools, the right things to say, the right confidence, the right self-image, the right integrity, the right process, the right systems to not fumble the bag, so to speak. So
100%.
as we're kind of coming to the end of this one, I really want to talk about something that I've really been passionate about lately. And we see a lot of people doing things online, but the average person doesn't understand what's going on, right?
Sure.
Which is building a brand,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And make it impact others' impressions, building a amazing personal brand. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to you, when did you go down this route and realize that it was important to build a personal brand? And what's your philosophy behind how important it is to have a strong personal brand?
Yeah. So I'm gonna answer that two different ways. And I want to reference something that you just finished saying about 2 minutes ago. And the word is one of the only words that is the most consequential to you creating wealth, not just riches, but wealth. And so if you're taking notes, this is when I'm about to drop some game. All right. The word is leverage.
Mm,
What most entrepreneurs do not understand is leverage. And I've seen it so prevalent in our industry because the average life insurance agent is above the age of 50. And so what's being taught typically are old, worn out ways of prospecting because they don't understand leverage. They don't understand technology. And so when I say leverage, what I mean very, very simply is being able to do something one time and get a reoccurring result, or being able to do something very small that creates an astronomical result. There are 4 levels to leverage. And the higher you go up in your levels, the more money you're going to make. And here's what people don't understand: your first level of leverage is your own energy. Guess what? You're going to run out of that. You're going to run out of time. Nobody can work 24/7. And so if you are depending on just you, then guess what? You're limiting your income. The second level is management, but you're still managing a finite resource. Other people are going to get tired. There's only so much I can do with other people's energy. Here's where the rubber meets the road, where a lot of people shy away from just simply because they don't understand leverage. The top 2 levels, number 3 is content. Number 4 is software. Okay,
mm,
Dave, what are you saying right now? What I'm saying is, if I create a piece of content, it lives forever, which means no matter whether I'm spending time with my wife, my children, I'm on vacation, I'm relaxing, I'm talking to you all right now, there is a piece of content out there in the waves, wherever you, the ether, that people are watching that I'm able to earn a living from. If you are not paying attention to content, you might as well just quit the business, because the direction that the business is going, trust me, you want to learn content. The last one is SaaS, software as a service. You look at companies like Apple, you look at Amazon, you look at Tesla. There are software companies. We don't have to get into that. So you asked me, well, what was your question again? You asked
it's
me
about the personal brand. But before we
brand.
get into that,
Go ahead.
I want to double down on what you said. So
Yeah, go ahead.
Daniel Priestley wrote the book Key Person of Influence. And one of the things that stood out to me from his book is he said that income follows assets.
Come on.
And the thing that we know of being in the financial services, right, is that there's two things: there's an asset or liability, right?
Correct.
And a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket, and an
Yes.
asset is something that puts money into your pocket, right?
Right.
Most people with Rich Dad Poor Dad, the line in the sand was controversial, was that he said that a home wasn't your personal home wasn't an asset because it didn't put money in your pocket. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I like real estate. I'm like, what makes sense with social media and building a personal brand? I'm like, oh, my Instagram is an asset.
Come on.
I got a home here, and then I'm getting one built,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna be paying money in. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, my Instagram is worth more, or my social media is worth more than that because it produces 10 times that. So I'm like, oh, so my Instagram is an asset.
Come
And
on.
what's the one thing that I love about assets, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that content is something that you can add value to your profile. So every time you create a piece of content, what
Mm-hmm.
happens is that content is also an appreciation asset, because
Come
every
on.
time you post on there, it increases the value of the asset. And we
Correct.
know what that is, right? That's I can't think of the word for it. Appreciation. Yeah, it's appreciation. It goes up in value. So
Yep.
if that's the case, then every time you produce content, you create an asset, and you infinitely can give yourself a raise every single day just by posting content. The other piece is we're in the information age right
The
now.
right type of content.
Right. The right type of
The right
content.
type of
Correct.
content.
So one of the things that's most important is that we're in the information age. Anything we need to know is at our fingertips.
Yeah.
Well, if we just take a page out of Amazon's book, we can tell what they're thinking. If you pull out your phone and let's just say you wanted to find another remote that you lost for your TV,
Right.
they will give you every piece of information in detail about that product,
Mm-hmm.
so that you have enough decision to click that button where your credit card is already linked. So
Correct.
what do they know about us? They know that the best customer is an educated customer. So what way to educate your customers than to put out content, right? Let's say you just got off a call and somebody's like, I don't believe in this and that.
Right.
That's a good piece of content to make to debunk those myths, so that you train your ideal customers, and when they come to you and you educate them, because the best customer is an educated customer.
Correct. Correct.
So building a personal brand. You
Yeah.
know, my question was, how important is that in today's society and going forward to building a strong, sustainable business?
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, when you look at just follow the clues, I think success leaves clues. And so if you're looking to build a multi-million-dollar brand or just a significant brand to give your family the lifestyle that you want to enjoy, you have to have a personal brand. Now, let me stop. I say that tongue in cheek because you can, in this business, build a brand without building a social media presence. The challenge is building a brand that you can also step away from, or that actually has it has a value without you being present. That's why I led with
Leverage.
leverage. That's why I led with leverage, right? And so I honestly did not know I was building a brand when I first started. If you look at my YouTube or you look at my Facebook, I've been building content since 2013. And what I led with is exactly what you just said. Things would happen in my business every single day, and I simply created a piece of content, whether it was going live on Facebook or live on YouTube, and I shared my experience. That's it. And what I decided was, you know what? I'm going to take this serious, because at the end of the day, this is the resume. This is the proof. A lot of people, if you are having financial issues, it's not that what you have is not valuable. It's that people don't even know you're available. So if people were to Google you right now, think about our business? Like, you're speaking directly to clients. Even my grandmother has a social media page. So trust and believe. Anybody she talks to, she looks them up. Anybody she wants to do business with, she looks them up. And so, man, I could go on and on. It's been a godsend for me. It's been one of those things where, okay, I post a piece of content. I know my KPIs to the point where I know how many people are going to click. I know how many people are going to DM me. I know how many appointments I'm going to get off of that. And I know what my typical income is going to be for every single post. When you
That's
have that
amazing.
type of certainty, it gives you a tremendous amount of confidence. And with that, you can build a legitimate business. A lot of
Yeah,
people
sure.
unfortunately don't have that. And I think that's why they quit the business.
Yeah, and I love that because a lot of times when I'm speaking on stage and I was at 8% speaking in front of 1,000 agents, I was like,
Mhm.
one of the struggles that most life insurance agents has is it isn't that they're not good or it isn't
Mhm.
that they're in the right vehicle, is that nobody knows who they are or what
Yeah,
it is that they do.
yeah.
And one way to be able to do that is leveraging social media, specifically if you're somebody that likes high quality, high intent, and you're already using word of mouth or relying on referrals. Social
Mhm.
media is word of mouth on steroids. There's a minimum of 2 billion daily active users. And I didn't graduate from college either, but if there's only 8 billion people on the planet
Mhm.
and 25% of these people have a social media presence, then it's probably somewhere where we should be and have a presence for people to make ourselves findable for people who are looking for what it is that we have to offer.
That's it. Isn't
Yeah,
that
man.
like at the end of the day? Isn't that a lead? Like, come on now, that's the
Exactly.
only way that you're going to build a business. You need attention. There's some company right now that is finding attention for you, and they are feeding you a lead, and you are paying for that information. Now, let me talk to every agent out there because I know what some of y'all are saying. Well, I don't pay for leads. You're paying for
Mhm.
it in your contract. Okay, let's be absolutely clear. You're paying
Now
for a
talk
lead.
that talk. Come on now.
I be getting so angry, man. Anyway, that's a different story for a different day. But
But hey,
pay
the
for that.
truth is the truth is the truth. Okay. So as long as you're speaking the truth, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I think it's so important. I want to add something in addition to that because I also want to speak to the people that may consider themselves to be private. Well, I'm an introvert or I'm too old or whatever excuse you want to make. The internet, social media is they are hungry for authenticity. They don't
Mhm.
want the person that showed up and all of a sudden you're in a Lambo. What they are yearning for is they are yearning for somebody real. I do not lead with lifestyle. I lead with who I am. Like what you see is exactly what you get. I ain't about to pop out with a Lambo or a Bentley or a Rolls Royce just to get clicks. That, first of all, you only attract those type of people.
And
That
it's
will be
rented
attracted to that.
anyways.
Yeah, like I don't want that. What I encourage anybody to do is if you are going to get into social media, study content. Like study what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Understand also that social media, keyword, is social. And so if I get on there and get off, I'm not being effective. Being social is I post content, I engage with my audience, I stay relevant to my audience, I listen to my audience, and I post everything. What's funny is I see a lot of people that, and we're probably getting into a totally different conversation, but I see a lot of people that will only post one type of content. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, that's cool, but this is a platform where people are looking to know, like, and trust you.
Trust you.
So
Right.
they may be able to trust your expertise, but they don't even know if they like you for real.
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
different.
and I'm with you on that because you're not just a life insurance agent. You're not just
Correct.
an entrepreneur, right? Like we said, like all these facets of your life, and people want to like it's about connection, and so people want to
Correct.
know, like, and trust you. And the people that you like the most are people that have characteristics that you aspire to have, or the
Yeah.
ones that are similar to the
Yeah.
ones that you value the most. And that's what you want to share with your content. And so I think that we've gotten into this phase too, where there's like this authentic sector where it's like we're yearning for authenticity now more than ever because social media allows you to be able to portray a lot of things, which in some ways it is good to highlight some of the things, but now more than ever we're looking for true authenticity and people who we can trust, man. But dude, this has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Definitely learned a lot and got a lot of gems from you. So this video is probably going to go out to, I think I got an email list of like 140,000 life insurance agents, 90,000 on Instagram, and I think about 15,000 on YouTube. So if somebody's like, man, Damon was dropping game and
Yeah.
he absolutely crushed it, and they wanted to be able to connect with you, where can they find you?
That's awesome. Just find me on YouTube. I'll say YouTube. You can look on YouTube, but easiest would be IG. Damon P. Dillard on IG, on YouTube, Damon Dillard, Facebook, same thing. Would love to connect.
For sure, brother. Well, hey, man, I love what you're doing. Appreciate the content. Always love supporting you as a brother as well. It means a lot to me to see somebody else who looks like me out there fighting the good fight. and always, you know, being authentic and being yourself. Definitely appreciate you being on the show, bro. Thanks for
Love you,
being on
man.
the Rainmaker podcast.
Thank you, brother.